Yo. And music in 3, 2, 1. I should do it. Okay, now to just see if... Oh, it's streaming. Edit some stuff. Yeah, we want interaction. Let's all right. Okay. This is nuts. Let's get to it. Start talking about the topics at hand more when maybe there's a little bit more interaction, but I'll also summarize some things. This past week has been the first, well, not the first production week, but the final production week for formerly known as which is a Prince tribute keycap. It was commissioned by a patron, and we're holding a public sale, and this has been really cool. Casting was really interesting. There are some details here that are the same, same kind of thing that we've always dealt with, and then some other things that were a little bit different. Changed how I approached casting this key. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, my wife and I learned a lot doing this, and in the off time I spent time, I was sculpting the Oni Thulu. And the Oni Thulu is a collaborative work between myself and Alhex. Alhex makes the Goji and various sculpts, themed around kind of like Oni, demons, cool stuff like that. We got together the last time I was in Chicago for this past Chicago meetup, and we were discussing how this project might materialize, and just kind of talked about what we wanted from it. It was a good conversation. I took notes. And here we are. Now all I have to do is find all the right sculpting tools that I set aside so I could game. Okay. I'm using a hard silicon wedge, a dental pick, and this is like a very, very small cut flat edge wedge shaped object used in kind of like microsurgery stuff. And we're just kind of my playlist on random. We're gonna keep working on this shape. The shape being the Oni Thulu, kind of a mashup of the Thulu or like cathodic designs that I have made over the years, and features that Alhex considers to be Oni-like, demon-like. This is the inside of it, and the reason why I'm sculpting something detailed to be the inside is that this is going to be an iterative sculpt. The part will be used, the inside will be molded, and then I will create a new master. The master will then have more material added on top, and this interior structure is going to inform the exterior anatomy. Okay. I've been working on managing the key shapes and symmetry, or kind of like implied symmetry. And it's been pretty fun. We've there was a lot more mass down here in the jaw, and in the back here. In the back, we've got these kind of like exhaust port looking things. This is just kind of how I rationalized some sort of creature that has maybe like a bone structure on the inside. Like, would the tentacles be outside of bone entirely, or would some of the structure go in through bone, at least somewhat? And I thought, because of how I've sculpted things previously, the bone might go over part of the tentacle, so each of these ports is an area where a tentacle can come out. I'm sculpting using a wax that I developed. It is it's a temperature tolerant wax, meaning it can get pretty hot and not completely disintegrate. But very low heat can cause it to behave like wax, which essentially means the wax molecules, the molecules that make up the wax, because there's a whole bunch of different kinds of waxes and things mixed together in this. It's a blend. They start to level out, and towards the area closest to the heat source, if you are heating it, the molecules will tighten up. And that's what kind of makes wax turn into balls when you heat it. So I'm just familiarizing myself kind of with where I left off and what sort of shapes are complete or incomplete. Kind of making some decisions about, you know, the structure that I left with and how I want the structure to change. Happy Sunday, and if I don't see you tomorrow, which I probably won't, happy Labor Day. If you haven't watched one of these VODs before, we've got the camera right up here. It's a PTZ camera. Then my main face camera over there to give you an idea of just how unhinged I look when I'm doing this stuff. He's so crazy. I'm going to see if I can get a guest to pop in and discuss a topic. I try to have topics aside from just the labor, because I think that can be interesting and informative to creatives. Today's topic is burnout. And in case anybody's wondering, no, I did not experience burnout recently. I'm not really struggling with it. And I think that's because I have burnt out before and I kind of know what to look for and what to avoid. But it's a real challenge. It's not easy when it happens. And it's good to be aware of like what else is going around, like what other things are happening, kind of keep life priorities, like what is important to you, what do you think about other than work, and how can you honor those things and, you know, care for yourself by recognizing that. Just had my wedding anniversary. It's like the perfect way for me to just remember what's important to me. Is celebrate something big, you know, that I can do once a year. I've got a couple anniversaries like that all happen. It's technically it's the 12th anniversary of starting to cast and sculpt and make these kinds of objects, which I think is pretty cool. 12 years. I've learned a lot. And some people who know me may think, not much has changed, but we've seen we've seen everything happen, just a little bit. We lost our primary material. We don't use the same resins that we started with at all. Everything's just kind of changed, and I learned how to make colors. I don't just mean mix them, I mean make colors. We've launched a bunch of different products and then, retired them. I learned just how difficult managing an inventory and grappling with the ethics of advertising and just learning about what kind of company I want to have. Mostly I just want to freelance and stuff. I want to make the art. I don't want to be everybody's art supplier. But it's really strange, like when you want something to work, you're willing to try a whole bunch of different things, and developing products for other artists is something I really like doing. I like working with other artists, but I don't like it being as serious as it can be, which is generally like make a product, make a business plan for it, take out some debt, buy inventory, manage the risks. Stuff that I was not really interested in doing, and did not make it easy, that I was kind of unwilling to. It was risky to begin with, but I did not pursue it to the nth. I didn't go all in with these risks, and that might have made some of my projects like absolutely fall flat where they could have soared and succeeded. And on that note, back to burnout. I think those were the times where I got the most burnt out. Developing products that, I mean, were way more risky than my own artwork for Hungerworks Studio. That it's an easy way to put a lot of work into something and sacrifice a lot. And I wouldn't say that everybody should avoid these things. I don't have that kind of wisdom to say, oh, this is universally a bad idea. But being aware of what kind of cost or risk might be associated with starting up a venture, like becoming a manufacturer or supplier, that is really important. Do your research, do your due diligence, question why you're doing something. I know life doesn't exactly move in that very clear, in a very clear line, but with hindsight, I can see how it could have been a lot clearer, or a lot more successful, or just a lot less stressful. Back to burnout. You know, that's something that I would have really enjoyed avoiding. It's like depression. Like the idea of starting up is kind of painful. And when you do start up, watching your own progress as you grapple with the burnout is there's a lot of loss of motivation there. And if you ever feel like that, I don't know, mention something, a comment on one of these videos, and maybe talk a little bit about how burnout has changed your perspective on a kind of work or an opportunity that you pursued in life. I think it's a common enough occurrence that people don't talk about enough. Okay, so I truly enjoy these shapes right here. Let me see if I can get this a little bit more in focus. There we go. So this socket actually kind of resembles a horn from this angle, which is really cool for the Oni motif. And I'm definitely going to try and match the shape on this side. Being right-handed, it feels really natural to work on the right-hand side of a sculpt. I have to turn it kind of upside down to work on the left. And it's not impossible. I wouldn't even say it's extremely difficult or too hard. It's just my brain does not think, oh, hold the thing upside down and work on it. And, you know, if you hold it right side up, or if I hold it right side up a lot of time, and I try working on this side, I'm just crossing over with my hand. Maybe I can, yeah. It's like this, and so, but that's not fun. That's not fun. Oh, shit. Oh, shoot, rather. I gotta update the description on my Twitch stream. By the way, I'm streaming on Twitch as well as YouTube. That's another thing I'm testing today. That's the thing that we're doing. Alright, updated the stream on Twitch, hopefully. And I hope the YouTube stream is working with like full sound. I have the scene kind of moved over there, but I don't know if the audio has gone over. If you're watching and you're part of my Discord, let me know if the YouTube stream is working at all. I can see myself in it, but I'm not really I'm not going as far as unmuting it. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Just kind of a joke that I've been trying to develop between streams. I say okay a lot when I'm setting myself, like I'm psyching myself up to start something, or psyching myself up about the progress of my project. I am my own yes man. Yes, let's continue. And I think focusing on the symmetry of this, talking about the project and the topic of burnout, I think that's going to be the vibe for a little bit. I like giving projects some distance while also actively, approaching them via thought exercise. Like if I'm not really getting anywhere, how can I think about a project so that some momentum occurs? Some momentum. It doesn't have to be like a dramatic change, or I could feel like something really needs to move forward, but there's no point forcing if it is not working. It doesn't help things. Now, stopping altogether is not good either. So that's why I say approaching it in healthy ways, small healthy ways. That's how I have managed to keep some of my most challenging projects alive, because I've definitely had to abandon some projects too. One of them being the Hidden Hunger, which I really like, and I had some great plans for that. It's not that I don't want to approach it again, but I'm not approaching the problem the way that I should. And I haven't figured out what that way is yet. So for something like that, if I did intend to go back to it, I would probably work on other pieces of art that depict the Hidden Hunger and maybe render it out kind of like a sketchbook style. Try and put it together in a virtual space. And the assembly of that key isn't very hard. There's just some complexity that makes customizing a cast for that cap really difficult. To me. There's probably plenty of people out there talented enough to just absolutely smash it. I think getting other perspectives is also a really good way of avoiding burnout. And I think I've even used people as a crutch to prevent burnout when I've been on the cusp. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That could be a really destructive thing to do, because, your personal relationships are super important. I think if you've got a good, friend group or support system, that could work out, but I'd also worry about troubling, people around me who I care about with, the pressures of my own ego on the work. Gotta succeed. I think relying on some sort of third party or maybe some sort of activity to avoid a thing, because you're burnt out with it, can also ruin, other stuff, whether it's interactions or say you're like listening to music to avoid like being with your own thoughts about a project. Just like any kind of distraction might end up, associating that really awesome distraction with the thing that you're burning out over. That's not good. So burnout being a complicated thing, I'm no expert on it, but I do know that a great many people struggle, with their energy on projects. And like I said before, I think it's a topic that ought to be talked about. Like, what is burnout for one person versus another? And how does it shape the progress of a project? And how does it affect a person's work-life balance? Can we recognize burnout as a society as normal and something that could have a healthy outcome? Or is burnout always bad all the time and a thing that could, should, and can be avoided with relative ease? I would take a burnout vaccine, 1,000,000%. So I'm working on the right hand side again, but that's because on the left hand side, the under eye or cheekbone over here has a shape that I'd like to make sure is completely matched up on the right. I noticed a little bit of missing material, so I'm just going to work that into the form. This past week, a lot went down. So, more than just the casting of formerly known as, I launched a Ko-Fi for the studio. I hope to be engaging with that and sharing some of the photography that I do. It's mostly nature photography. When one of my dogs, Chase, passed away, I developed a kind of a creative habit with him to make sure that I would get out of the house. Before he passed, I'd just take photos while going on walks, trying to build as much to remember him as much as possible. And I haven't stopped. His adoptive brother Bowie is still with us, and I like the ritual. And I think a lot of people really enjoy the subject of the photography, which tends to revolve around what sort of scenes, the places we go, the things that we see and observe, which they're small details about the world around us that a lot of people might walk past or just find interesting, but might have missed it. And so we like sharing that with our fans and followers. And we're hoping that if you have any interest in such things, check our Ko-Fi page out. We've got links in our Discord, and I believe there's a bot that hits everybody up in Twitch and lets them know that what the address is. It's ko-fi.com/hungerworkstudio for those on YouTube. And if I ever get around to editing these things, I'll throw something in there that makes it look pretty, or draws attention to an address, something up on the screen. I don't know. So much to do. The objective with the Ko-Fi for people who subscribe monthly and just throw a little bit of their hard-earned cash at us is to upload about 10 photos per week. 10 really high-quality, high-resolution photos per week. That's a minimum. So far, the engagement has me excited and hopeful for the future. And I'd just like to share that with anybody who's willing to give it a look. The process of setting up the Ko-Fi and taking the pictures made me a lot more aware about how involved our process in just walking the dog can be, and how this habit has, in really positive ways, absorbed a decent amount of our lives. My wife and I just throwing ourselves at this practice of going out to these places that seem exotic. Oh, hey David, it's good to see you. If you could do me a favor and pop over to the YouTube stream and just let me know if the audio is working over there. If not, thanks so much for stopping in, and have a great evening, man. The ritual of going to these places, it seems like a lot, but we've done enough to research locations that are pretty close to home. It's not a taxing drive. It just kind of takes us off the beaten path, and gotten really good at knowing what to look for to make places look a little bit more fantastical than they might be. Hey, Cashley, what's up, man? So, sculpting, casting form early, setting up the Ko-Fi, and now streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. That's fantastic. Thank you, David. I see your chat on the YouTube. And that's so great. That's so fantastic. Okay.
I sent you chic tweets unanswered for weeks. I want to take peeks in those cheeks. I sent you this hot fact.
That's fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic.
I said I would wax all your cracks. What's with that? Well, give it
I'll have to see if I need to be careful about the audio with YouTube. That could very easily get me like demonetized or just shut down. Yeah, but I don't really want monetization from these companies. I'd rather have, you know, the whole Ko-Fi thing going. That's just been awesome, and I feel like I'm actually providing some value there. Yeah. Not that this isn't value, but, you know. Yeah. But I'm streaming to both. I'll figure it out later. I'll figure it out. Rude boy. Okay, so let's take a look at these cheekbones. Yeah, I kind of don't mind if it gets muted. Some people just like watching stuff live on YouTube and may not know about me streaming on Twitch, or may not want to watch on Twitch, so we're giving it the total, giving people options, man. The total package, that's what I was looking for. Mentally, I am not all here today.
Now here is the news. I'm getting both of yous on a cruise. You know we can't lose. Shit, I thought it was going great. You stopped them chunky jams.
Stop them chunky jams.
Man, that was great. You must be thankful. Got to appreciate the good things in life. That's a huge jam.
Timeline. Those things are mine. That was the best.
Well, they are mine, so I take them with me to Lapland.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experience about that. I'll have to navigate it just like I'm navigating all these other new things. Navigation. Internet GPS. I'm lost. How have your weekends been? I just had my wedding anniversary. That's why you haven't seen me in a couple days. That's what's up. Getting married at the end of summer. That's the primo move. Just as things start to cool off. I mean, some years it could be sweltering, but like sometimes in the fall, especially here in Pennsylvania, yeah, in the fall it'll get kind of wet and rainy. We can avoid a lot of that hitting the window in between summer and fall. Kind of curious what the heck the weather is going to be doing soon. I hear that there's a massive cold front that's going to envelop the Northeast here. And I also watched an entire video on YouTube about how small talk is useless. But, you know, small talk's awesome, alright? We get a lot of that, you know, people wishing us a good long weekend. Unfortunately for freelancers, Labor Day is not recognized. Medium talk. How do you gauge the difference between the small and medium? I struggle with anything in between 16 ounce and big gulp, because I mean large at that point is relative. I can tell that this is a nuanced topic. And we get down like that. We get down like that. So I noticed that with the front tusk things here, they were kind of mismatched in terms of height, and so I've been gauging the cheekbones partially by observing how they relate to these structures of the jaw. That's a mistake if they are uneven. So I gotta fix that up and then reassess. It kind of bothers me. Shrinkflation for sure, but I don't know what we're to do as peons, as the corporate overlords. you know, manage to squeeze every single cent of optimization out of things. When you say, worry, worry, baby. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. I love that riff. Some good deer hoof. So this angle is helping bring out the kind of curve I have going here with the upper jaw. It's just the angle that the tooth is going to come up at, that subtle angle. It's like an acute angle with the cheekbone. Kind of creates an arrow pointing inward toward the face. I like that. This is not the song. No, neither is this one. I do like me some mini trees, though. I do like me some mini trees. Let's go. This is some singer-songwriter stuff, but like, I like the tone. Yeah, you get Duck Thulu. That's how we're going quackers up in this. Maybe I should work with Bad Chad on that. Thulu all the things. That would not have been on my 2025 bingo card. But I am very interested in hitting up Hindsight again. Oh man, I am having feelings about current events. That's kind of like my social commentary keycap. That one was released during COVID. Sort of recognizing the potential, like hindsight, some official might have somewhere and regret that they didn't handle lockdown with any grace. That was just such an awful series of events. And we're still paying for it. We're still paying for it. So what is coming up? What is happening soon? Towards the end of September, I'm gonna be part of like a podcast panel. We're trying something new with like Hubert and Diego, myself, and talk about artisans. It's kind of it's what I live, so it shouldn't be that hard. I'd want to start like tonight. Like, let's go. Let's just do this. But I understand that other people have lives. And not everything revolves around artisans. This is Cyberpunk 2077 soundtrack, which is fantastic. I know some people out there have probably played that game. Such a good story. It's kind of like one of the first modern games that made me go, what the F? This is so cool. And by cool, I mean like impactful and tackling some more modern issues. The launch was kind of atrocious in terms of like the state of the game, but it really quickly got better. Ooh, that's fantastic. Which artisan did you pick up? Oh, that's so cool. Boop always makes really cool stuff. Sadly, I have never sat down and like had a full casting session with Booper, and I would like to someday. Okay, so I've messed with this side enough. I need to level out the other. You gonna be doing any photography of the key? Like, no pressure, I'm just kind of curious. I think I've used a light box a couple times in product photography, but even that is kind of rare. They're just not that useful. I like a sheet. Oh, nice. Yeah, I like a big window and a sheet. And then if I want diffusion on another light source, just hang a sheet in front of it. But do that stuff away from, like working in a little tent or box thing can just be like really restrictive, and the setup and breakdown is... I am a lazy photographer. I like being quick with it. I like just taking the moments as they come. I think that helps me tell better stories. That it's not my advice for everyone, but I like to think about how reactive the process can be, in case I get an idea that I just want to chase after. Okay. Yep. Okay, so the left side is a little bit high. Okay, we can see that on this side dips down. You get that, line pointing towards the center. Not. Could just be the light. No, it's definitely there, but it's like... Let me just chop that off real quick and then... Okay, that's a little bit better. Macro photographers, people who shoot bugs and stuff, they use pretty localized diffusion on a flash. Which, when I got good at using a flash screen, it gave me like a lot of the exact same look that a light box would have, just kind of wherever I am. I think light boxes are really good if you've got like a larger scene. Sometimes. But again, I don't know.
Love you obviously, like you really care, even though you treat me like a dancing bear. Toss your bare gold fish as it cycles by. Don't forget to feed your bear or it'll die. Wait for the moment to come.
Yeah. No! Dropping stuff. I do like those handheld LED panels. I use them a lot. That's kind of changed the way I look at lighting as well. Stockbroker made a bad investment. Oh no. Ooh, what a start to a song. Wow, 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 wow. The distortion wubs are strong. Oh, this is lasers and fast. That explains it. Their songs are brutal. And then on to one of the best OSTs ever made. Transistor. I like playing that game just to listen to the music in context. I miss that.
In the clouds, like tears in the rain, winking alone, all the same, sleeping below. We never mind her diligence, watching us all lie awake.
Well, that's a. I mean, jazz is fantastic. Jazz is absolutely fantastic. Have you ever played Transistor? It's so sad. So, one thing that I want to talk about with regard to how this underlying structure works, if you are ever working with things iteratively, you do not need to make indentations if you're going to cover it up. Like, I'm going to put a tooth coming out of here. You don't need to make an indentation for something like that. But physically, if you are intending to, this is going to become a solid piece and then I'm going to add on top of it, it can help to have a little well that your material can be anchored into. And so that's why I'm going about doing this.
When she shines for me at night, and her
That's why I'm doing this with my iterative sculpting. Transistor is a really good top-down battler. It's a solid game. The story is incredible. The soundtrack is a live element the entire time. Like, the whole game is the soundtrack, is the game. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. The experience of that story in its kind of interactive format, it's really strong. I do understand that it was popular when it was released, but it kind of hasn't survived the test of time. Like, you don't hear a lot of people just being like, oh man, we're gonna talk about Transistor today. That happened years ago. But then again, it's kind of an old game. I think it's like two titles from Supergiant before Hades. And they're on Hades too. But if you like music and you like games, check it out. That's my recommendation. Now, I also say I speak highly about Transistor versus a lot of other media, because I am of the personality where, like, I don't like rewatching things. I don't mind re-listening to things, but usually when there's a visual element, I get a little tired of the experience pretty quickly. It takes me years before I can watch a movie again. It's kind of the same way with single player games. It takes a while before I can just like go back and do it again and feel anything other than it just being kind of like a replay chore. You won't catch me like replaying Spyro or something like that over and over. And Transistor just kind of defies that thought process in me. I don't have the same feelings. And I just think that's because it hits different. I could play it again at any time. I could listen to the album again at any time. I'll occasionally watch some like social media musicians and their old videos regarding the song structure to songs in Transistor, and it's because for as like great as experiencing the story is, hearing somebody tell this story is equally as entertaining. Well, man, I mean, if you're playing MMOs like WoW, it's not like you've got massive bandwidth there. That's a consuming title. And I don't mean that pejoratively. I mean that like that's a big game. There's a lot going on there. There's some games that I can't replay. Like, I cannot replay the old Final Fantasy turn-based stuff at all. The games are just too long. I could play the Mother series of games, though. You know, like NES, Earthbound. Like, I could totally do that. I tried replaying some indie games like Off. Nope. Can't do it. Off was an experience at a time in my life, but it's not really there anymore. Final Fantasy VII, I can't do. I can't do some of the old Persona stuff anymore, but I can do things like Monokemia. That was an interesting PS2 title. So just how I treat time in general has changed pretty significantly. This is starting to look good. The relationship between the jaw and the cheekbones is really coming together. I like that. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna shoot a text over to Mawai real quick. Oh wow, OG Zelda. That takes me back. That is a game to replay. It's you have to be deliberate in those old games. Extremely deliberate with your time. Oh man, you know what? I cannot play the old Star Fox games. The frame rate is so weird to me now that it makes me sick, like, instantly. It is a rough experience. I can't do it. Almost dropped the sculpt. Maybe if there was like some frame generation, I could do it. Maybe. There was a game for the Super Nintendo that used the same super effects microchip called Vortex. That was really cool. You could go between a tank, a walking mech, and a jet in that game. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, on the topic of some of those old games, I don't know if the nostalgia can really hit me the way that I've seen it hit some people. And I think it's because, to me, being the age that I was at the time when those games were a thing, really informed my perception of it a lot. Like, it was something, it's kind of like one of those jokes, you had to have been there. Yes, it was very much like Macross, but for the Super Nintendo. Oh shoot, I remember Macross. What a cool series. And strange IP drama. Like, really strange IP drama with Macross. And Transformers, of all things. But that was like what is it? Not Mattel. It was like Hasbro and Bandai were just like duking it out. As far as Transformers is concerned, it was the character Skyfire, who have right here, actually. Bro, those were better than triangles. Those were like nearly pyramids. All right. They were like wedges. I remember being in school with a guy who was like, and that body, oh, like, not even kidding. Like, absolutely, like, bonkers. Like, oh my, ooh, was totally into it. Like, was not joking. The power of the male imagination was something. Yo, Unreal was pretty crazy back then. The thing wasn't the avatars themselves, it was the spatial relationship that really made it hit home. And you get that effect if you look into kind of more modern versions of the same thing, like Bolt Gun, for example. The old graphics cards were like the Wild West. Like, the game industry had no real standards. There was definitely like the difference between, you know, consumer grade GPUs and like stuff for the mega rich. Like, I went down a rabbit hole of looking into old games, and it turns out that if you had like a special kind of synthesizer, you could hook it up to your computer, and like certain games would have an entirely different sound system. It would recognize the device, and like you'd get different music. You get entirely different music and sounds with the game. And like, I had access to really good sound gear. My father was definitely into that kind of stuff, but not like that. Not like that. Nope. Yeah, it was a Roland gear. They had it for like Sierra Studio games. Just what a freaking time to be alive. I don't know if you remember the game Outcast. Like the very first ever ray traced game. Had a like a greater than Hollywood budget for a PC game before like PC gaming was really anywhere near as universal as it is now. Yeah, Wing Commander was something else. Man, I don't know what happened with AAA titles, but a lot of them do not hit like they did back then. They do not hit today like they did back then. And I don't feel like it's just a nostalgia thing. I think it has to do with like the scope of a project, the kind of planning, promotion, and the kinds of like unified interests that people had. Gaming has like a much more diverse series of subjects right now, so it's not like you play for high sci-fi or high fantasy or something like that, or you're looking for some sort of just like an adventure game, and it kind of doesn't matter what genre it is, you just like adventure games. Oh yeah, gameplay loops. Holy smokes. Yeah, oh my god. BK, you are hitting on something like deep into the eldritch horrors of game design, and that is like the focus on gameplay loops these days. And it, with that as an example, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. So good. So good. Really hit me in that way, in that good way. And I think that's part of it. I was playing that game like I was never gonna play it again, kind of, which is how I approach most of the games that I play. I don't just assume I'm gonna get addicted to something. And I'm like, I'm really looking for that gameplay loop. Like, nope. Man. That was such a good title. I like how when it first came out and people were kind of getting used to how the gameplay worked for it, folks were trying to use the Souls-like genre as kind of like a connective tissue for what the combat was like. And I mean, I've had reaction-based turn-based RPGs before, like well before like a Souls-like game. And if you die in battle in a turn-based RPG, you die. Like, you go back to the last save point. That is how it's happened forever. So maybe I just haven't played a lot of turn-based RPGs. But I felt like people trying to make a mountain out of a molehill of the kind of style of gameplay was partially like good for the game because it got people who may not play JRPG style stuff to try it out, but it probably also turned a lot of people away from it because Souls-like games have kind of like a stigma of try hard to them, and the casual gamer in 2025 is a fickle stereotype. It's not a set in stone thing. Like, there's all different kinds. There's some people that absolutely despise the idea of there being a game that would challenge you into having to get good. And then there's like casual gamers who just, they don't game all the time, but they do like a little bit of a challenge. So there's like a wide it is not a very definite stereotype. I have made very crass remarks about certain kinds of casuals in select communities, but that's because I'm a toxic individual. Oh.
Te mando as rimas que há pouco eu fiz. Tem uns buracos, depois ajeito. Vê o que acha e aí me diz. Troço doido, nem sei direito. A casa antiga que eu conheci tinha umas sombras que o sol cortava.
Everybody in 2025 has no attention span. I don't know about that, man.
Tu me sonhando eu te imaginava. Os teus cabelos não tinham fim.
I feel like I don't have a lot of an attention span sometimes, but it's because I don't want to be paying attention to just one thing. I want all of the neurochemicals, man. I want all them neurochemicals all at once. Hit me with all the bad interweb addictions. Just give it to me concentrated. Give me a hit of that furry VR, man.
Como aviso que não chegasse. Te ouvi dizendo, olha o capim. Cortaram ontem, mas já renasce.
You know, I started out my internet with like straight up no lube dial up, and at one point with like America Online. Man, the internet was really weird back then too. I think it peaked when cable started becoming ubiquitous, especially with like competitive gaming. Just having, you know, 5 megabits per second. That was hot. That was hot, man. Having a ping in like Team Fortress Classic of like 40. Just oh man. What a time to be alive. There we go. Okay. Was constantly accused of cheating back then. Yeah, people living in real time versus those on dial-up. Whew.
Quando se arreta com os gritos dos bárbaros, cata umas folhas e traz pra mim. De eucaliptos, ciprestes, de cedros e plátanos, nem vou falar nas varandas de flores. Flutuar, suspende as dores.
How do you cheat to have lower ping? That's what I want to figure out. I do remember at like this seems familiar in my mind of there being high ping only servers. Like you just get kicked. Man, having your own server for something was like such an elite move. Such an elite move back then. You know, whether it was like a TeamSpeak server or, you know, your favorite FPS. When games started hosting their own servers, I was like, well, this kind of ruins the fun, doesn't it? But I mean, without that, we would have never had some of like the biggest titles of all time. Oh, peer-to-peer co-op. Holy smokes. Dude, I remember playing over TCP/IP connection the what was that game where you built up a town and cities and you went out across the map? It was a lot like Heroes of Might and Magic. Heroes of Might and Magic over TCP/IP connection. Man. That was such a good point. dialing into people's computers was crazy. I remember one of my buddies had, his father was like an engineer with a big firm, and they had like really high speed internet at their office, and the guy got was really close to a telecom place, so he actually had DSL, and he would connect over DSL to like the T1 line in the like basically he could DSL right into a T1 junction, and that like connected directly to his work, and so he had access to like this ungodly internet for the time. And it was free for him because all he had to do was call his workstation computer. Probably cost somebody some money, but like didn't have to plead with family to get some sort of internet connection. But I mean, back then prices for things sounded so reasonable. All right. Well, guys, I really appreciate the I appreciate you all coming out today, especially on your long weekend. These streams have started being put up as like Twitch VODs and stuff, and so you can check out the beginning of the stream if you'd like. Before there was people here, I was more on subject. I was talking about kind of things we got involved with this past week. And to recap, casting. We got the Ko-Fi set up. I really want to thank everybody who signed up to the Ko-Fi. Like it really, really helps us. It's made some things possible, so I'm really appreciative for it. Thank you. We're streaming now on Twitch and YouTube, and I mean we've just been sculpting this really wonderful collab piece, and I hope to get All Hex on here sometime soon to talk a little bit more about it and give some feedback on how this thing has been coming along. But I see this step ending soon. The step is going to end pretty soon. It's like getting more and more symmetrical on all four sides and all four corners, and we're hitting that point where it's best just to move forward with the project. I'm gonna grab some dinner, take my dog for a walk, and think a little bit about dialing into anything. Just connecting via modem to a machine somewhere, and just how different things are today. Things have changed quite a bit. If you haven't played it, check out Transistor, Expedition 33. Those are really fun games. Phantom. Heyo. I'm just about to head out, but I should be back later. I just want to have dinner at a reasonable time and take Bowie out for a walk before things get too late. thank you all again. I'll probably recap all the subjects and things that I went over earlier some other time. It could be right after I'm done with dinner and a walk, but it might also be later this evening. And if we don't catch up again during this long weekend, I wish the best for all of you. Peace.